Tough one for you guys. Defensive, hard-fought game between the Camels and New Hampshire, but you guys come up a little short, 24-10. As you've gone back and looked through the tape, just kind of give me your impressions on the game.
Yeah, typical CAA football game, right? I mean, it comes down to the fourth quarter. A lot of good defense, a lot of good football being played in that spot. Credit to that team. They found a way to win it in the fourth quarter. We missed some opportunities. You look at some third down conversions. We were only 30% on third downs, and that's a credit to them and their defense and how well they played. But we knew third downs was going to be big going into the ball game, and we only converted 30% of those. We held them to 35% conversion, which is really good. However, they were 75% on fourth down conversions, and some of those you look at them as a defense, and we're second and long, and we got to keep them in a third and long in those opportunities. And they did a good job of giving them opportunities to sequence plays to give them an opportunity to advance the ball and keep the ball in their hands and not have to be able to turn it over in that spot. And so you look at some of those critical moments. You looked at the blocked field goal going into the fourth quarter. What a big momentum swing that was. And then unfortunately we came out and we went three and out on offense. And so we got to be able to play complementary football, and we got to understand that. I mean, I think we played 40 offensive plays against New Hampshire. And so when you play a team like New Hampshire, it's going to slow the game down and reduce the game. Every opportunity is magnified, and that was a moment that we missed. And if you look at the overall theme of it, we missed some critical moments that we could have had opportunities to win the ball game, and they took those moments.
Question for you this morning from Donald Ware. Good morning, Donald.
Good morning, Rob. Appreciate it. Good morning, Coach Harris. How you doing?
Good morning.
It seemed like the second time, I guess, this year that you went with one quarterback in Mike Chandler. Can you assess his performance, and is he your guy solely moving forward?
Yeah, Cam was out this week based off a knee injury that he had against Hampton the week before. And Mike has always played quarterback, as you know, if you've kept up with us, been able to do a lot of different things at it. And Mike gives us a great opportunity. Felt like he gave us our best opportunity to win the football game this week with him behind the center. Moving forward this week, we'll have to assess it. Cam's kind of day to day right now. And so we'll have to assess on a Tuesday, Wednesday where he stands. But Mike will always be ready for us. That's for sure.
All right. Rob, do I have time for more? You have some
Sure.
others that are
Yeah,
looking
sure.
at us?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Could you? I mean, look, you haven't had a bye week. I mean, I know. I'm sure you could have benefited from one. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get a bye in week 10 of a season, and so what it is, right? We feel like we've had one of the toughest schedules in all of college football, and then like you said, Daniel, when you add the bye week late in it, it's tough. But that's CAA football, and that's where we're at, and we got to be able to find a way to win some of these ball games down the stretch when things are stacked against you in some areas.
And then Kevin White, the quarterback for A&T, can you kind of assess him and maybe some of the challenges that he presents?
Yeah, he's doing a really good job for those guys. Just turning on the film last night and tonight with him being able to move the ball. He's a kid, from Newport News, Virginia, and so he's athletic. He can also sling it, and he's been a part of a really good football program in his high school, and he's continuing to be able to build that there in A&T. And so, you're exactly right. You asked the right question about who it is that we got to be able to find a way to limit his ability. But he's doing that against really good football teams, and I think he's a really good football player. He's a guy. It's a young guy that has a lot of upside to be able to continue to grow. And we just hope we didn't grow this week.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Braxton, you talked about only having 40-some offensive plays, 7 first downs, I think 225 yards. You guys have been so good on offense all year long. What changed on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, some of that's personnel, right? I mean, when you take a starting quarterback out of situations, and it's not like, kind of like the question he asked is, it wasn't like we just took a number two quarterback and put him at the number two quarterback. We took probably one of our most dynamic players on the field that was outside and moved him back to the quarterback position. And that limits your opportunity to get the ball on the edge and get the ball vertically. Mike had done so much of that stuff, us on the perimeter. What hurt us is not having him on the perimeter. Mike did a great job behind the center. Did a great job at quarterback, but not having him out there on the perimeter really limited us in some spots. And we got some good young players that are out there in those spots. But if you look at where they were to start the season to where they're at now in the depth chart rotationally, that's a big jump for those guys. And that's not an excuse. That just is what it is. When you take your playmakers on the perimeter and they're not there, that changes the ball game.
Talk about Mike's athleticism. I wanted to ask you about the play that set up your touchdown. That was a mighty strong athletic play that he was able to make on the big pass to Daniel Lopes. Just talk about that play that kind of set up the touchdown, put you up by
Yeah.
10-9.
Yeah, that was a big moment right there to give us an opportunity, and that was the credit to Mike. He had some pressure in his face, being able to get that ball out. And then credit to Daniel. Daniel's the kid that's continuing to develop and continuing to get better, and he's kind of been banged up all season. So that get fighting his tail off to be able to stay in the rotation through injury. And so that was really exciting to be able to see Daniel be able to make that play and give us that opportunity to go down there. But there's a lot of pieces, and that's Mike. Mike does a great job. He's always going to give us an opportunity to win a football game.
Defensively, as you said, New Hampshire's on the field a bunch, but to credit to your guys, you hold them to 3 field goals through three
Yeah.
quarters and almost 3.5. What were you able to do? Kind of the bend you don't break. How proud of your defense to be able to keep them out of the end zone.
Yeah, I thought Coach Daniels and his staff did a really good job. I thought we did a good job limiting the run plays. You take away, a quarterback scramble in the third quarter, and then you're right around 100 yards rushing for those guys in that spot against a really good New Hampshire team. And that's kind of typical of where we've been all season. And that's a credit to those guys of being able to stop the run and being able to limit the explosive plays. I thought we ran to the football really well. I thought we played really hard as a defense. I thought that was something that we did from the get-go, from the very get-go. We always talk about starting fast. Man, I thought our defense really started fast in the first half. And you hate it in those opportunities because they play so well. But the reality is every game requires something different, right? Every game is going to require a different unit to be able to achieve something that they didn't achieve the last week. And we needed a couple more stops. And we weren't able to get those this week. But moving forward with those guys, I'm excited about where they're going in the direction that we're getting better at.
Your team on the road on Saturday at North Carolina A&T. You touched on Kevin White a little bit, but what are some of the challenges A&T presents for you?
Yeah, it's a CAA football game, right? And it doesn't matter what the record is, who you're playing. If they've got a CAA logo on their chest, you know that they're going to play hard. You know that they're going to play inspired football. They're coming off of a bye week, right? Like we just mentioned, they're coming off of a bye week that we don't have right now, and we've got to be able to find a way to be able to start fast against a team coming off of a bye week that's going to be fresher than they have in the last 6 weeks. And probably more prepared than they have the last 6 weeks with the extra time that they're able to get. And we've got to be able to start fast in that game. And so going to there is always a challenge. They're always going to provide a good environment. They're always going to play the game hard. Coach has got them playing hard, playing fast, they're playing physical. You turn on the film and there's some 12 personnel stuff where they're running the football, pin pull on the offense side of the ball. Being able to be a physical football team. And anytime you run the football effectively, you got a great opportunity to win. And so we got to be able to do the same on our offense, but defense, we got to be able to slow that down.
Well, I'll let you go. Sort of a scary injury Saturday with Barry Tate. Just checking in. Hopefully, some good news on how he's doing.
Yeah, thankful we got great medical personnel here that were able to take care of him. He had surgery on Saturday night, and they put a plate in. It was a clean break, and so the great thing is there was a clean break, and that advances his recovery faster as he moves forward in this process. And so he came by the building on Sunday and saw everybody, and the first thing he says, "Man, I'm sorry I couldn't finish the game, coach." And man, that's just the type of kid he is, and that's the type of kids we have here at Campbell. We have a ton of really great kids that are doing a lot of things right, and they're just like Barry, that they put a ton into this. The hard part is when they haven't gotten the success that you want them to have. But kids like that are going to continue to build this program and continue to allow us to be able to advance this program to move forward in the CA. And it's because we're doing the right things. We got the kids that are doing the right things. They got the great character, just like Barry. And so that's the exciting thing. That's what allows us to be able to get up and go chase it again, because we got great people that are doing a ton of things right to be able to help this program grow.
That's great news. I appreciate the update, and look forward to talking again. Appreciate your time today, and look forward to talking again next week.
Thanks, Rob. Have a good week.
All right, you too.